Gary here with MACMOST. Here are 10 ways to move files from one location to another in the Finder on your Mac. So macOS gives you lots of different ways to move files around. Here are 10 ways to do it, but there are even more in variations on these as well. Even if you think you already have your best way of moving files around, this video is going to be full of different tips for using the Finder. So as an example here, let's say we want to take the file from this business folder here, balances.numbers, and move it to this miscellaneous folder here. One way to do that would be to simply have two different Finder windows. So let's go into this business folder and we can see the file we want to move. Now let's move that to the left side here. Now let's open up a new Finder window and I'm going to move this to the right side here and I'm going to go to the other location. So now I can see the file I want to move and the destination. Now all I need to do is click and drag from one to the other and I move the file. You could also use searches for either one of these. So for instance, I could go up a level. I'm going to use Command and up arrow to go up a level here. And then I'm going to search for balances and I'll come up with it here. I can check to make sure it's the right one by looking at the path bar here at the bottom. So now I've got the file to move. I can also do the same thing here. Let's say I'm up a level here or maybe even at another location like all the way up at the top level of iCloud Drive. I can do a search here for the folder and once I get a result that shows that, I can drag from this search result to this search result and the result here is the same. The file's moved. Incidentally, to make this tutorial, I'm going to use Edit Undo and that will undo the last move, or Command Z to put a file back where it was before. So you can see this now has moved back to that business folder. Now instead of using two different windows, you can also use tabs. People often forget that you can do tabs in the Finder just like you can do in a web browser. So instead of a new window here, I'm going to create a new tab. So now I've got the two tabs here. This one shows me the business folder where I was before. And this one will go to my default location under Finder Settings General for new Finder Windows Show. So I've got that set to my Documents folder. Now I could have this tab be the destination. So this folder here. To move a file from one to the other, all I need to do is drag to that tab, pause for a second, and then that tab will open and now I can drop it in. Incidentally, if you're in the middle of a drag and you end up somewhere else like this, and you decide to change your mind, you can always cancel by pressing the Escape key on your keyboard. By the way, if you find my videos valuable, consider joining the more than 2,000 others that support MACMOST at Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. Read about it right here. Now how about doing this without a second Finder window or tab? Well, you've got 4 different Finder views: Icon View, List, Columns, and Gallery. List and Columns are particularly useful for moving files around. So to use List View for this, what you'd want to do is go back up to the level that includes both of the locations you're dealing with. So in this case at the Documents folder level, I can see the business folder and I can see the miscellaneous folder. It's very common if you have a nice organization like I do here with everything in the Documents folder that there's a top level like Documents where you know you can get to everything you need. So now you can open up this folder in List View here. You can just click the little reveal triangle to the left of the folder. Now I could see the contents there. And at this point I could actually do the drag. But if I really want to see what's in the miscellaneous folder before I put something there, I can also open this one up as well. So now I can select this file and drag it in the same window to the other folder. Don't worry that it's a bit off screen because as soon as you get to the bottom it scrolls automatically. And then you could drop it in this folder here. Now I can even drag and drop a file into a subfolder of a subfolder. And you could do that using spring loading. It's similar to what I showed using tabs where the tab automatically opened when you hovered the file over it as you were dragging. To make sure spring loading is turned on for you, go to System Settings and then go to Accessibility and then look for Pointer Control. Spring loading is an option near the top. Just make sure that's turned on. Now let's say I want to move this file into this folder called Other, but into the subfolder called Some Files. But I didn't think to open these up beforehand. I could drag this file down here, let it scroll a bit, hover over Other, and that will open up, and then I can hover over this folder here, and that will open up as well, and I could drop the file there. Now let's look at another Finder view, column view. So with column view, you get these different columns that represent different levels. So here's my Documents folder level here, and then I'm looking at the Business folder level here. So I can see this file, and I could see the destination here. So I could simply select the folder that I want, see the file, drag into it, and I can move it. If I wanted to drag into a subfolder, I can use spring loading here as well. So I can drag this down into Other, wait, Other will open here on the right, and I could drag into this folder, or even wait a second, and I could see the contents of the folder and drag it in there. Now you can also use the sidebar to move things around. So if I wanted to move this file into that miscellaneous folder, well, it's not in the sidebar right now, but what if it was? What if I very often had to move things into this folder? I could simply drag it here under Favorites and add it. Now to move something there, I don't even need to see this folder. It could be in another area or even another drive entirely. And I could simply drag into the sidebar like this, and it will go into this folder right here. And it's okay to temporarily add something there as well. You could just click and drag this out to get rid of it. So if I wanted to move something to this folder, I could simply add it to Favorites in one step and then use it to move a file into that location in another step and maybe keep it around or get rid of it after I'm done. It seems like a lot of steps, but it really only took me a few seconds to do it. Note you can also drag and drop folders into the toolbar here. The secret is to first hold the Command key down, then drag, and then you'll see the plus button there. You have to have the Command key down before you start dragging. And now you've got it right there. You can drag and drop into this as well, and you could see it moved it to that folder. And to get rid of this, you can Command drag out, and it's removed. If you want to see the name of the folder under here, just Control click on this and then change to icon and text. Another idea for a temporary location is to use the desktop for this. I like to keep a clean desktop. I don't want it cluttered with files. But it can come in handy as a midpoint in a file move. I can move the file here and then find the location where I want it to go, like this folder here, and then drag it into that. This can come in handy if you want to move a bunch of files that are in different locations into a new single location. So you could grab all those files, move them to the desktop, and then with the new location visible in the Finder window, you can select them all from the desktop and drag them all into that new location. Now here's a really strange one that I bet you didn't know about. This back button here. The Finder keeps a history just like a browser. You can use the back button or Command and the left bracket to go back to the last place you looked. So you could go to the destination, like let's go into this folder here and into here. And then you can go and find the file that you want. You can search for it, but you could also go and use any other method you want to find that file. So let's go here into the Business folder. Now start dragging. And if you hover over the back button, it will go back one. Move away, hover back again, it'll go back again. And eventually get back to the location that you wanted. And then drop in there. Now I know a lot of you have gotten to this point and have wondered why I haven't mentioned your favorite method. Well, this is probably it. And it's to copy and move. So here's how it works. You select a file, or it could be multiple files, and then use Command-C or Edit and then copy. Then you go to the location that you want. So I'm going to go up a level here and then go in here. And this is where I want to move it. Now, if I use Command-V or Edit, Paste, it's going to make a copy of that item and put the copy here. That's not what I want. So you hold the Option key or use Option Command-V, and that changes Paste Item to Move Item. So the two keyboard shortcuts you need are Command-C to copy and Option Command-V to move. And that will easily move one file or several files if you selected those when you use the copy command to this location. Now here's a method that doesn't use the Finder directly but uses Finder functionality. Let's open up this file. So here I'm in the file and I'm going to move the file while I'm actually using it in the app. So if I go to File, there is a Move To command here. You can use that and then select a new location. So you've got a bunch of frequent locations, your favorites, and you can go all the way to the bottom here and choose Other if you like. And then you get to pick where it goes. So here it's using my last Finder location, which is here, but I can actually go wherever I want. So I can go to like the Documents folder here and then find the location I want there and then click Move. And now I've moved the file without actually using the Finder at all. If I were to Command click here, you could see its new location. So I hope you found this useful. Perhaps you learned a new way to move files in the Finder, or maybe you just learned a few tips and tricks. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.